All right, Sloan, let's go ahead and practice some of the graphing problems so that you feel a little bit more confident about it. And hopefully this helps answer any of the questions that you have. So I'm going to go through some of the ones on the extra practice. If you already did them, you can erase them, or if you just maybe need the reminder of how to do it, you can just watch the video. It's your choice. But it is on page 87. So I'm going to do 1 and 2 on this page, and then the next 2 on the next page for inequalities. So first, remember, we want to look and see what format are the equations written in. So in number 1, the first equation, y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 2, is in slope-intercept form. So I know the information I need for that is going to be m and b. So my m is a negative 3 halves, and my b is 2. When we graph that, remember we start with our b, so I'm going to go up 2 on the y-axis. Now I'm going to do my rise over run for my slope. The negative can either go to the 3 or the 2. I'm going to make it go to the 3. So I'm going to rise, or I guess fall, 3. 1, 2, 3, and then run 2 to the right. So I end up over here. So I went down 3 and right 2. Now I'm going to go ahead and connect those with my fancy ruler that I have. Okay. So now I'm going to move on to the second one. Second equation, negative x plus 2y equals negative 4. This is in xy intercept form, meaning we need x and y. So I use that cover-up method that we learned. So I'm going to first just look at this negative x equals negative 4. So if I'm solving for x is going to equal positive 4. By the way, I used that dot there to show you that I'm covering it up because I can't really show you that. Now if I'm doing y, I'm going to divide both sides by 2, so I end up with y equals negative 2. So when I'm graphing, I'm going to go ahead and graph x or y first, it doesn't matter. I'm going to start with x though, so I'm going to go 4 positive on the x-axis, and then y negative 2, so negative 2 on the y-axis. And I'm going to go ahead and connect those points as well. And where the lines intersect is our answer. So I can see that these lines are intersecting at 2, so x equals 2, y equals negative 1, and we write that as an ordered pair as well. Okay, so now moving on to number 2. The first one, negative 2x plus y equals 2, is in xy intercept form. So using that cover-up method, for x, if I cover up y, I'm left with x equals negative 1. And then for y, when I cover up my x term, y just equals 2. So x is negative 1 on my graph, y is 2. And connecting those. I think that's close enough there. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and move on to the second one, which is in y equals negative x minus 1. So this is in slope-intercept form. M is negative 1. B is also negative 1. So I start with my b. I go down 1 on the y-axis. My slope is negative 1, which remember is like negative 1 over 1. So I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 1. And you can do that a few times if you want to make sure that your line is exact. You do not have to, but it does help to be a little more precise. So now connecting these, I can see where they're going to connect, just have to make my line actually do it. There we go. And I see that the connection point is going to be at x equals negative 1, y equals 0. So my final answer is just negative 1 comma 0. Okay, so I don't know if you've already done the extra practice for the graphing lesson yet, But if you haven't, the bottom two answers are on Google Classroom for you. I won't put them here in the video, excuse me, for you as well because they are special cases. Okay? All right, so now for inequalities. So this is page 88. We're going to go through the same process we did with graphing, but we have those few added steps of is it solid or dotted, and what side do we shade. So for number 5, y is greater than negative 2x plus 1. That's in slope-intercept form. My m is negative 2, and my b is 1. So I'm going to rise 1 on the, oh, sorry. My b is 1, so I'm going 1 on the y-axis, and now my slope is negative 2. So I'm going to go down 2 to the right 1. This is a dotted line. So I'm going to go ahead and connect those. And before I shade, I'm going to do the second one. So x plus y is less than 3. That is xy intercept form. So x is going to equal 3 using that cover-up method. Y is equal to 3 as well. And this is also going to be a dotted line. So I'm going to rise up here on 3 for the y-axis and 3 for the x-axis, and I'm going to connect those. Remember, for inequalities, it does not matter where they cross. That's not what our answer is going to be. Our answer is where the double shaded region is. So now this is the part I know that you've struggled with in the past, so I'm going to make sure to explain it a little better to you. So we now want to figure out what side we shade on. So I'm going to start with the red line. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in 0, 0. So if I plug in 0 for y and 0 for x, I end up with 0 is greater than, the negative 2 times 0 just goes away, so I'm just left with 1. Is 0 greater than 1? Nope. So then I want to shade on the side where there is no 0, 0, because it's not true. So for the red line, the side that is not 0, 0 is going to be this side over here, because there's 0, 0. So let me take those away so I can not shade in black. So I'm going to shade to the right of my line. Okay. There we go. So we're going to do that same thing again for the second equation. So I'm going to plug in 0, 0. So 0 for x, 0 for y. I'm left with 0 is less than 3. That is true. So I want to shade where 0, 0 is included. So this is for my blue line. And so I need to shade underneath it to include 0, 0. So I'm going to shade this whole entire area under my blue line. So then my answer is where that double shaded area is. And so we have to choose 2 coordinates. I wrote here answers will vary because you really could choose so many points in that area. But I'm going to go ahead and just choose this one right here. So that's 1, 0. And then we can just choose this guy right here in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So 3, comma, negative 2. Okay. Hopefully that walking through that for you helped you out a little bit. Let's go ahead and do number 6 as well. Okay, so first one, negative x minus y is less than or equal to negative 2. That is an xy intercept form. So I'm covering up my y of negative x is less than or equal to negative 2. So x just equals 2. And then covering up my x, I have negative y is less than or equal to negative 2. So y also just equals 2. So I'm graphing both of those. X and y are both 2. And this is a solid line. So I am now connecting my points just like a normal line that we're used to from equations. Okay. Oh, of course. Okay, close enough. I don't want to have to go back and erase it for you. Okay, so now we have the second one. Y is greater than 1/2 x plus 1. So m equals 1/2 and b equals 1. So I go up to 1 on the y-axis, and now I rise 1 and run 2. So I go up 1 and to the right 2. And this is a dotted line. Glad I looked at that. I almost made a mistake. And I am going, oop, bummer. Blue, there we go. Computer's skipping on me. Okay. So now let's do our 0, 0 trick. So if we plug in 0, 0 to the first inequality, then we have 0 is less than or equal to -2. And that is no. So not where 0, 0 is. So that means I need to shade. This is for the red line, so I need to shade above it because 0, 0 is below it, and we do not want 0, 0 included. All right, so now looking at our second one, we have 0 and 0, so I have 0 is greater than 1, which is also a no, so not where 0, 0 is. So for the blue line, I will be shading above it because 0, 0 is below it. So my double shaded area is to the top right on my graph. So 2 points we could choose. We can choose, we can choose 0, 2 because it's a solid line. And then we can also go ahead and just choose one up here. So let's do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2, 4. And again, there's lots of options that you can use for those. But anything in that area will work. Okay, so again, go ahead and try the 2 on the bottom here. I'm going to put the answers here for you just in case you can't find it on Google Classroom. But here are the answers for 7 and 8. Number 7 has 3 lines, so it's a little interesting. Oops. Here's my work and answers. Here are the answers for the bottom 2. That way when you complete them, you can just go through the video again. All right, go ahead and try those again. Erase if you haven't already. And I really hope that helped. Enjoy the rest of your snow day.